Yo, what is going on YouTube? Year One Blink here, back with another new video. Well, this is an old video, old school gameplay of Trials of the Nine, back in Season 1 of Trials, I think. I'm not too sure. And let's talk about the Director's Cut Part 3, but the most important stuff like Trials, Super Nerfs, new PvP stuff coming out, and yeah, let's get into it. So it looks like Luke Smith starts with Combat, the inevitable collision of action RPG. They wanted the game to be an awesome power fantasy where challenge can be pushed on its players. As we discussed in part 1, the game started to bend in year 2 under the weight of this power and Destiny's imperative that it ride the line between action game and RPG. This section is going to explore the collision across a variety of places, the UI, the player character, and of course PvP. So we're going to be skipping to part 3 because all the other stuff we don't really care about because this is mostly a PvP channel. So let's get into it. Supers everywhere. Masterwork guns, super mods, orbs everywhere. Right now, for a pretty decent player running around with super mods, the time it takes to gain a super is under 2 minutes in PvP. If you compare the duration and damage to a roaming super in Destiny 2 to roaming supers in Destiny 1, you'll see they're more powerful now than ever before. He goes on by saying, "We didn't even have roaming Arc Titans in Destiny 1, but every time I play PvP, I get killed by one twice in the same super. Similar to the way that deep down we all know the damage dealing capabilities of Guardians have gotten out of control. We know supers have too. Destiny 2 was overly restrictive at launch, but now the pendulum has swung too far in the other direction. We'll start bringing this back toward the center and shadowkeep." He continues by saying, "On a live stream a couple months ago, I mentioned that we're lowering roaming super's damage resistance, and we are. Seeing someone pop a super should not instinctively make us want to run away, give up, or float off the map. We want super kills to feel earned, and we want players on the business end of super to feel like they can make a big play and put down a striker titan. Being able to challenge someone in their super is important. And right now, many of the supers are very hard to challenge. On top of that, more things ever now contribute to players getting their supers back, so we're doing some tuning there as well. Supers will be just as powerful, but they will be a more strategic choice. As such, we're reducing the effectiveness of orbs on refilling the super meter and reducing the super energy gain from kills and assists. This isn't just a PvP problem. Remember, the series on the Reckoning in part 1? It's all related. Supers are still very powerful in PvE game. Players will just need to be slightly more specific with their timing on positioning than in the past. This kind of tuning is a pendulum. We swung it hard in different directions, and we're all hopeful that these changes will begin to find a better middle ground for Destiny 2. I know you'll let us know your thoughts once you've played it this fall. Part 4, heavy ammo available. In Destiny 1, heavy ammo became an in-match rally point in 6v6 matches. Once open, players nearby would all get some heavy ammo. In Destiny 2, heavy ammo is a jockey for position speed before need looting game that gets played all the time. In Destiny 1, heavy ammo felt metered. In Destiny 2, you can defeat a team but not an Arc Titan multiple times with a brick for a hammerhead. See, where is this heading? We're making some changes in heavy ammo in Destiny 2. Heavy ammo will be a communal and 6v6 playlist. We're also reducing the amount of ammo per brick in PvP for certain 6v6 archetypes. It's not exactly the same as Destiny 1 though. When a player cracks open a heavy crate, other players have a window of time to interact with it and get their heavy ammo. Part 5. Let's talk about PvP. There has been a lot of conversation internally and externally at different points during the year around the support Bungie provides PvP. On one hand, we have continued to tune the game in each quarter, added pinnacle PvP weapons that somehow ended up as pinnacle PvE weapons, tried out the ranking system in the Crucible, and returned the game to its 6v6 roots. On the other hand, we haven't released a new permanent game mode. Many game modes from Destiny 1 are nowhere to be seen. There isn't a public-facing PvP team. And the last real thing we said was Trials is staying on hiatus indefinitely. Let's get some of this sorted out. Trials of the Nine wasn't the hero we wanted it to be. We made too many changes to the formula that while it had begun to decline in Destiny 1, wasn't as flawed as we thought. When we were making Destiny 2, we talked a lot about making sure it felt like a sequel, bringing in new players and simplifying the game, and Trials of the Nine created another casualty there. It happened on my watch, and if I could turn back time, I challenge us to do many things differently. If nothing else, I hope it's clear we are committed to learning from the mistakes we make and making it right. There were some really cool parts of the emissary. Some of the gear was really potent, but the theme felt weaker. The Trials card was less important, and the stakes felt lower. Trials of the Nine didn't work the way we'd hoped, and Trials of the Nine is on hiatus indefinitely. Dang, that sucks. Why is it on hiatus indefinitely? Well, let's keep reading into this. So why have we been so quiet about PvP? Well, we didn't have a lot to say. We weren't actively developing something to hype up. We know PvP was going to be something everyone got for free in New Light, so it was really a part of the Shadowkeep core offering. What are we doing about PvP became a question we were asked internally too. A bunch of folks on our team are passionate about PvP and wanted to know where it was heading. PvP is in need of some quality of life improvements and restructuring. This fall with New Light, hopefully bringing a bunch of new folks into Destiny, and with our existing players looking for some updates to PvP, we will start by making significant changes to the PvP portion of the director. Today, it's a fine balance between adding playlists and maintaining healthy populations. When we're looking at changes to the playlist structures, we want to achieve a couple of goals. First, we want players to have some more agency with respect to pick a playlist, play a mode, and second, we want playlists to drift back to the everything is a factor of 3 that Destiny 1 used, and that the rest of the game mostly uses. Player counts being based on a common number like 3 is important. It enables a bunch of activity options for groups of friends to engage with. In Destiny 1, players could run a couple of strike groups, team up for a raid, go play 6v6 PvP, split up, and go play 3v3 PvP. At launch, Destiny 2's 4v4 PvP completely broke the pattern, and we want to reset that bone with PvP this fall. So basically, what Bungie is saying, they want to go back to the roots, the old Destiny 1 ways, and I couldn't agree more with that. We've revised the playlist a lot, and here's how it's going to work. We removed the quick play and competitive nodes from the director. If you're looking for an experience like quick play, we've added Classic Mix, a connection-based playlist like quick play today. Classic Mix includes Control, Clash, and Supremacy. Competitive is replaced by 3v3 Survival, which now awards glory. We've also added Survival Solo Queue playlist that also awards glory. We've added a 6v6 Control as its own playlist. With the potential influx of new players this fall, we want to have a playlist that signals to new players that this is where to start. We feel like 6v6 Control is the right starting place when introducing new friends to Destiny. We've added a weekly 6v6 rotator and a weekly 4v4 rotator. This rotator playlist are where modes like Clash, Supremacy, Mayhem, Lockdown, and Countdown will appear. We've removed some underperforming maps and matchmaking too. Hopefully they remove that fire-based map. Oh my god, that map's so bad. We've also been working on 4 variants of 3v3 elimination. They include different approaches to revives, token resurrection or not, and variations on heavy MO works. Elimination is going to make its return in the Crucible Labs, however, elimination is very unfinished and it's missing a VO, and there are no unique medals associated with it. Between the missing polish and the 4 variants we'd like your feedback on, elimination for the time being is a great fit for Crucible Labs. We fully expect it to graduate out of Crucible Labs to find a warmer home, like Trials of the Nine. Hopefully it's coming back. Please Bungie, bring it back. I love Trials so much. They said they are making new medals, so I don't know, Trials might make a comeback, you never know. We wanted to make sure we could test elimination on some familiar maps, so we've brought back Widow's Court and Twilight Gap. We want to play with you and watch you play elimination in this combat sandbox and see how it all fits together. Good job, Bungie. Those are definitely some maps you should bring back. Those are classic Trials of Osiris maps. They're actually pretty good for 6v6 too, so hopefully we can play 6v6 on them too. So they continue with this. We're also changing how we do matchmaking. With a bunch of potential new players entering Destiny via New Light, we don't want PvP to feel like you're being told it's time to learn how to swim as the helicopter door opens over the Pacific Ocean. So we've made some changes to separate the new swimmers from the Olympians. Additionally, we've also taken a longer look at matchmaking and overhauled the skill matching system in the game today. Quick Play is the only playlist that doesn't have some version of skill matching in the game. We're preserving that behavior, connection matchmaking, in the 6v6 mixed playlist. Here's what gets really annoying about skill match. When it's overly restrictive, it's fatiguing when every single game feels like a sweat fest. When it's overly loose, a player can get an entire evening of unlucky matchmaking RNG where they're getting dumped on by a squad of Terminators shredding Kindergartens. And a bad time for the Kindergartens. There's much more complexity and nuisance to an evening of PvP than those two statements above, but they do accurately capture the core problem. A lack of match-to-match variety? Sure, for a bunch of Terminators, a night of stomping might be a blast, but what about the folks on the receiving end of the business? This is where it gets tricky to improve matchmaking. People generally tend to focus on their own experience and their feedback. We think variety across an evening of PvP is important. This fall skill match should ensure a wider variety of matches regardless of player skill. Some matches should be tense and thrilling while other matches should be stomps. This philosophy should also apply to the top players, so they don't feel like every match is a sweat show either. We've refactored how players gain glory ranks with these skill match changes. We're factoring in your skill value to the glory gains and losses so that the number can more effectively represent skill. We've also made a number of quality of life changes to Glory, Valor, and Infamy to make losses less punishing to your streaks. Once above changes go live in October, we'll be watching, listening, and reading as you check them out. And that's all they really have to say about PvP and updates and elimination, supers, all that stuff. So the last headline for the Director's Cut Part 3 is an evolving world. There's an aspirational vision for what evolving could mean for Destiny. Someday Destiny could become a dynamic world where the world changes each season. We want playing Destiny to feel like you're playing in a game world with true momentum, a universe that is going somewhere, a game where things are happening not just in the terms of new items and activities, but also in terms of narrative. It's frequently seemed like Destiny was treading water in terms of moving the world's narrative forward. We want to tackle this in Destiny 2's third year. During Season 8, a new situation will unfold on the moon. I'm being cagey here only because I'm reluctant to spoil anything. Over the course of the season, parts of the game will change before the situation culminates in an event that will ultimately resolve it, and its content will be exhausted. But this resolution sets up the events of Season 9, which again adds something new to the game and resolves it. Something that too will go away, but not before setting up Season 10 and etc. This differs from last year's annual pass, which permanently added activities to the game. This year, we'll see the events that last for 3 months and offer new rewards to chase. Although at the end of that period, some of the activities will go away for a time, the rewards will too. But we also acknowledge that the part of playing Destiny is collecting all the stuff. So in the future seasons, the weapons and legendary armor associated with these seasonal activities will be added to other reward sites. I alluded to some of this when we were looking back. The game continuing to grow forever isn't something we can support. Destiny simulation, fidelity, and architecture fundamentally make it a big game. I've seen a lot of Game X does it, why can't Destiny? The reference games and ours have very different technical profiles. Technical limitations aside, we also don't think making a game that grows forever is Destiny's path forward. It's why the second component of the vision is a single evolving world. To clarify, the single evolving world doesn't mean there's only one destination on the director. That's not where we're heading. You were there with your friends, got the gear and the weapons to remember it by, made the memories, and changed alongside Destiny. In late August, we're going to talk more about the annual pass and how it's continuing to evolve. And there you guys go. That's the end of the Director's Cut Part 3 by Luke Smith. So my thoughts on it, honestly, Looks like they're going to be focusing on PvP more. Looks like they're going to be testing out Trials 3v3 elimination with different game modes and the Crucible lab. So hopefully we can get that to go by and get it back into Trials of the 9 so we can just start wrecking again. Looks like they might be making another Destiny, probably Destiny 3, who knows, because they're saying they have technical limitations on this game, so it's kind of weird that they're saying that. Supers will be finally getting nerfed, which is a great thing, especially that Titan Striker and that Spectral Blade. And Arc Strider too, forget those supers, I hate them. Widow's Court and Twilight Gap, the classics are coming back. Some needed changes to heavy ammo because the Crucible is aged with truth and grenade launchers and heavy machine guns. So yeah, that's all we really got to say today. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed the videos I've been making, and if you do want to see more content like this, make sure you do subscribe, youtube.com/year1blink. Have a wonderful day everyone, and later.